Hey class, welcome to your Tuesday lesson. It's over adding and subtracting fractions. And the reason why I put these two together is because they're very similar. Uh, they're very similar as in there's one thing that we need to find, and then it's just a regular adding and subtracting from there. That's why I put them together. If you have any questions, please let me know through the direct messages, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So for number one here, uh, for number one, first thing we need to do when we are adding and subtracting fractions is we need to make sure we have a what's called a common denominator. Okay, sorry for my handwriting. I'm writing on my tablet to the computer. So, uh, common denominator. That basically means that these two denominators need to be the same. Now, in order to make them the same, usually we have to do a little bit of multiplication on these fractions. And so we need to find a common multiple between these two. So I like to list them out. So times one, wait, let me go back. 5 times 1 would be 5. 5 times 2 would be 10. 5 times 3 would be 15. I usually just go to 3 and see if I need to go any further from there. 3 times 1 would be 3. 3 times 2 would be 6. 3 times 3 would be 9. Well, I still don't have anything. 3 times 4 would be 3, 6, 9, 12. 3 times 5 would be 15. I see something. It would be 15. Now, when you get a little bit easier, when you get a little bit more experienced with these things, you'll actually know what the common denominator is going to be just by looking here, and you'll know what the common multiple is going to be. In this case, I had to multiply 3 times 5 and 5 times 3. So in this case, it worked out that the least common multiple was actually the other denominator. And so I'm going to multiply, on this fraction, I'm going to multiply both by 3. In this fraction, I'm going to multiply both by 5. Why am I multiplying times 5? Because for the 3, it took me 5 to get to a common denominator. And so if I multiply the denominator by 5, I'm also going to do that to the numerator in order to keep the same ratio between the 1 and the 3. All right, so this is addition. It's going to be 15 and 15. And 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 5 is 5. And what we're going to do is we have to keep the same denominator. So this is going to be 6 plus 5 is 11. Okay. And if I could reduce that, I would, but in this case, I can't. And this is going to have to be my answer. So we're going over number 2. So number 2 is 1/2 and 2/8. So for 1/2, so I know 2 goes into 8. So let's just see how many times though. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8. It goes in times 4 would give me 8. So times 4. So I don't have to change the 8 here because the 2 goes to becomes an 8, can become an 8 to get a common denominator, or a least common multiple is what we call it. So this will be 4 times 1, which will be 4, and 4 times 2, which is going to be 8. We're going to keep 8, and this is going to be the same 2. I know I need to keep the same denominator, and my numerators are going to add up, and that's going to be 6. So that's going to be my answer. Actually, I can reduce this if I divide by 2. And so this could be an answer, but this also could be a 3/4. It's going to be your answer also. All right, so now we're going over number 3. All right, so I'm going to list the multiples here because I don't know it off the top of my head what the least common multiple would be. So we got 8, 16, 24, and this is going to be, let me move over a little bit, give me some room. All right, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. So it's actually 24 is the least common multiple here. So I need to multiply 8 times 1, 2, 3. So I do the same thing to the numerator. And for my denominator, my 3 is going to be times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It actually worked out again to where I multiplied times the other denominator. So you could also always do that, but that's not always the most efficient way. So I'm trying to show you both ways. All right. So this is going to be 24. They're both going to be 24. I know my answer is going to be 20 and 24ths. So this is going to be 7, 14, 21. And this is going to be 8. So 21 minus 8. Well, I could, let's see, 21 minus 8. So it's going to be 21. And so that's going to be, let's say 21. I'm going to do the fingers. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. That's what it's going to be, 13. 13 24ths. Now I know 13 is a prime number, so you cannot reduce that any further. That is your answer. All right, now we're going to go over number 4. I'm actually going to erase some of this to make a clear section so that way we can see. Only focus on this. All right. We got a 6 and a 9 here, so let's start listing them out. Let's start listing out our multiples to find the least common multiple. So multiples of 9 will be 9, 18, 27, 36. So multiples of 6 will be 6, 12, 18, 6, 12, 18. Actually, 18 right there. Now, if I multiply times 9, I end up being at 54. So I don't want to multiply 6 times 9 and 9 times 6 to get to 54 when I could just do 18. So this will be times 3, and this will be times 2. So whatever I do to the denominator, I need to do to the numerator. So let me set this up. I know my denominators, my common denominators were going to be 18. And then I keep the same denominator. So now I'm going to set up this first fraction, which is 5 times 3, which is 15 18ths, minus 2 times 2, which is 4. So 4 18ths. We're going to get 15 minus 4, so 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. So it's going to be 11 18ths is my answer. Okay, so I actually have some bonus ones for you that I was going to go over. There's 3 fractions here. What am I doing? So we're actually going to go over these. And there's a pretty simple way to do it. It doesn't have to be as hard as it looks. Okay, so what I could do first is I could split it up. I could say I'm actually going to do 1/3 plus 4/15 first. Okay, so there's 2 ways I can do it. I could do them all together, or I could split it up. So I can see what the answer is here, and then subtract 2/3 from it and find the common denominator again and do it again. You could do that, but I like to do it all at once. But I'll show you. Actually, I'll show you this way first. So I know that the common denominator is going to be 15 because 3 can go into 15. That would be times 5. So this now turns into 5/15 plus 4/15 gives me 9/15. And then I'm going to subtract 2/3 from that. Subtract 2/3 from that. And I know I need these to be a common. So now I have a whole different thing here. So I already finished with this first part. So I finished this first part. Now I'm just worried about the second part. So I need to make these common denominators. So I'm going to do times 5 times 5. Let me rewrite it down here. So I'm looking at 9/15 minus 10/15, and that's actually going to be a negative number. So 9 minus 10 would be a negative 1/15. Okay. So let's go over here. Now, actually, I'm going to change this one. I'm going to change this one to a 10. All right, so now we're looking at it. Oh, this is an improper fraction. Minus 2/20 plus a 10th. So let's go down here. This is 10/2 minus, okay, so, and I can split this up too, but I'm going to show you a way to do it all together. So 2/20, actually, let me go back. So now what I could do is I could find a common denominator between all of these. And I know that all of these actually go into 20, so I could just do whatever it takes to get to 20. So 2 times 10 actually gives me 20. So I need to do times 10 here. And I don't need to do anything here because I'm going to 20. And I know 10 times 2 gives me 20, so I need to do times 2 here. So now when I write it, I'm looking at 100 over 10, right? 10 times 10 is 100. Oh, no, over 20. Sorry about that. And then minus 2/20 plus 1 times 2 is 2. 10 times 2 is 20. And I know my answer is going to be in 20ths. So really what I'm doing is I'm doing 100 minus 2 plus 2. Well, minus 2 and plus 2 kind of cancel each other out. So it's really just 100. But I could say 100 minus 2 is 98, plus 2 is 100. So really looking at 100 divided by, 100/20. And that really just gives me back to this original part. And so now we're looking at 100/20, and I need to simplify that. Well, I know you could simplify this by a 2, but I know since both of them have a 0 at the end, I could divide this by 10. That's a neat trick that you should learn. If both of them have a 0 here, you have a factor of 10. They are factors of 10. So 100 divided by 10 gives me 10, and then 20 divided by 10 gives me 20. And this is actually an improper fraction, so I need to make this a proper fraction, or this actually looks like it's a whole number, and I could divide to see that out. So 10 divided by 2, I know that's 5. So 5 is your answer. They could also put 10/2 could be your answer, and either one of those could be your answer. Let me know if you have any questions over anything that I went over. I'd be glad to help.